Next up, why don't you go ahead, Control, and pull up the video for this, the SRV leak. While I explain it, I'm going to go ahead and just keep it on a loop while I talk through it. Yamix put out a video about SRV leaks. He recently published a video with all manner of leaks information, and a lot of it was sort of fairly public. It was the stuff that we, was circulated on Reddit, and we mentioned it sort of last week obliquely on the show. He's also has captured footage of one of the 3 new types of SRVs, the Scorpion. The other 2 being named the MEV Rhino and the SRV Mark II configuration, in addition to the current SRV, which is labeled in the computer code as default buggy. Now, while these leaks are always brought to me beforehand, it's long before I see Yamix post them. I always get the people bring, hey, there's this, hey, there's that. And I never officially comment on the show. I always look, I'll be honest, I look because I'm nosy, but I don't actually talk about it on the show, and I don't promote it. I don't show the videos. I don't whatever. But the fact of the matter is another content creator has already made this public, has posted the video, and it's a situation that now it's public knowledge, and it's it's for every content creator to comment on and to look into and to discuss. So at this point, I no longer consider this like a private leak that was brought to me. This is public information to be commented on. So I talked to the guy who always brings me stuff, and I said, hey man, how come you didn't bring me this? This was interesting. I never saw this. And his comment was kind of interesting as well. He said that it's either a fake or it came from the Russians, and apparently they have some methods that they use to access information that include steps that he is not willing to take. So basically what he does is surface level skimming of stuff that's just there in the code and easily accessible to be seen. Apparently they do some other thing that is quasi, I don't know, something else. And he's like, yeah, I'm not interested in doing that. That's not kosher. So, okay. I'm definitely not engaging in digging through Frontier's, dirty laundry, but I will for sure comment on a community involved video that's out there for people to see. And I find that video is interesting. I don't know if it's fake. I spent a lot of time looking at the rocks and the scenery and oh, is this something that somebody could create in another thing or whatever? But Unreal Engine or whatever, but it looks pretty legit. I know I'm interested. I know the Scorpion is definitely that matches with other hints and leaks, whatever, that have been independently that have been verified that it is mentions of stuff in the code. So I don't know. What do you think? I find it interesting. I especially like the names of the other 2 SRVs. You've got a SRV Mark II, which is okay, that's more of a let's change around this whatever. But then you have an MEV Rhino, and I'm thinking to myself, MEV, mining what is that, excavation vehicle, like a big dump truck maybe, and a rhino. You picture sort of a big hulking animal with a horn, like something that you could almost dig. I don't know. It's got me excited. And I hope, that we're going to be seeing something about SRVs in the not too distant future. I know Frontier said not right at the jump, but maybe later. So fingers crossed. Next up, we've got alpha stuff. And I'm only going to pull out a handful of things specifically that I want to highlight here. The first is Commanders Will and Kate. If you have not checked out their channel, you need to go subscribe to their channel because they are killing it lately. They put out 3 videos this week that I found of particular interest, and I have all 3 linked in the show notes for you. The first is a look at the plasma weapon. The second is a look at the Artemis suit and life scanner. And the third is SRV is an absolute tank in CZs, in combat zones. Now, the plasma weapon and the Artemis suit, that was an interesting sort of weird quirk, sort of situation. Normal. Frontier, when they released Phase 2 on Thursday morning, they accidentally released the Artemis suit and the plasma weapon, the Artemis suit being part of Phase 3 and the plasma weapon not even being on the list for things to be available for people during the 4 phases that were listed on the alpha testing. And right away, these guys and some others made videos of like, hey, here's what the plasma weapon looks like. Here's what it does. Here's how it behaves. Here's the plant gun. Here's how that goes. And they put out a very, very cool video, especially the plant gun video. I found it very, very, very compelling as far as it showed the 2 modes of it, where you can go with the first mode is basically kind of like an equivalent of how you use the scanner or whatever when you're mining for core asteroids. You use that little pulse wave scanner. So it puts out a pulse wave and then sort of plants in your area sort of glow just the same way as certain rocks will glow. And then you can run up to those plants, switch the mode to the genetic sample collecting. And it's a very cool little mini game, which we're going to show you here in just a minute in another part, that it spins around these little things, and you have to kind of match up the genome thing so that you can, it's a neat little mini game. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. But all 3 of those videos are amazing. And the SRV is an absolute tank. That video shows why you don't want to take frontline solutions. I mean, you might want to take them 1 time or 2 to enjoy the ride and to see that cool, being dropped onto the field in a hot drop situation. But after that, sign up for frontlines, take your own ship, park right outside the town, hop out in your SRV, because you could just drive around and you run people over and you're shooting them with your SRV repeater, and you're just like ripping through them like it's nothing. It's hilarious and crazy overpowered fun. So for people that basically are like, I don't like CZs, I'm not a Twitch combat guy, but I kind of need for some reason to do a CZ because my minor faction is pushing on me to, or I want a reward or something, go do it in an SRV, and it's basically going to be like you showed up to a ship a CZ in a fully engineered vet, and everybody else is flying around in just like, type 10s. It's like everything's an easy target and rip right through them. So yeah, check those out. In addition, we've got a Google Doc by Commander DENGO, Odyssey Alpha Phase 1 tips, tricks, and general guide. Even though I know we're in Phase 2 now, that guide is several pages of documentation that shows like, here's how this works, here's how that works, here's how this tool works, here's how the doors work, here's how this works. Everyone should take a look at that guide, skim through it, and you're going to see something where you're like, oh, I didn't catch that part, and it will have useful information for you. And lastly, on the current community news, we've got a video by Down to Earth Astronomy that he did, Commander's Toolbox, where to find all the materials you may need in Odyssey Alpha. Basically, what he's done is he's added a little section of functionality to his Commander's Toolbox where other people and him are reporting as they go through, okay, I got this material in this kind of location, and literally it's, okay, is it an industrial base or an agricultural base or a military base? Is it in the HAB building, the industrial building, the power building? Is it in a terminal or in a room that has a door of like door 01 or door 02? Because they have different sort of door numbers and different whatever. They'll show you, okay, this is in a hallway, this is outside, this is whatever. And it's just a great resource if you need to find a location for a material going forward.